What's up everybody? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems and welcome back to Track Walk in MX Simulator, where today we're going to be playing MX Heaven by BAC, or B-Dog on the forums as he's known. He is Braden Castellaneta though, so if you've ever watched our MX Simulator streams, you've probably seen Braden Castellaneta's name come up a few times. Very fast racer and also a very good track builder. Been a part of the Race Factor Gaming track crew for a little while. Been putting together some awesome tracks, and now that it's off season, he finally drops a fun little custom replica for us. He's pretty good at building replicas, so this one is obviously no slouch off of that either. And yes, indeed, this is a replica track of a private facility, a private track called MX Heaven in Paris, California. MX Heaven is kind of like a motocross vacation thing, I guess is what you would call it. It's like designed for people who are coming from like Europe or something like that to be able to experience Southern California moto. The people that own this property, it's private property. Like you can't just decide to go there if you want to, unless I guess you're a big name, and I'll get to that in a second. But yeah, it's basically like a vacation riding facility in Southern California. And I didn't really know much about it. I had seen this thing pop up a couple of times before just because I live kind of close by, so I'm a little bit familiar with it. But it's definitely, I don't even know that it's operational right now or anymore. But it's in Paris, California. It's at someone's house. It's kind of tucked away and hidden. And this track is very, very tight. Really, really kind of back and forth on each other, and very stereotypical of like a home track, I guess, where there's not very many big jumps. Very tight. You don't really get going too fast in a lot of sections. There is one section that's pretty high speed, but for the most part, it's kind of slow speed. This is maybe the biggest jump, second biggest jump on the track or so, right there. And then it kind of goes back and forth through this little valley thing, and like even this can kind of catch you off guard. It's like a little drop down and then come out the other side. Anyway, so a little private facility, and where it gained some attention, and BAC even put this in his forum post, is during COVID. The Star Racing team used this to test ride a little bit, and Swap Moto Live, I'm not sure who it was, I'm assuming Don Maeda at the time, went over to this facility with the Star Boys and slapped a GoPro on Justin Cooper. So you can actually see there's a really cool video that BAC included with this track of just 30 minutes raw of Justin Cooper just going to work at this facility and riding, and yeah, just it's kind of cool to like compare it and see what BAC ended up building and what the track was that J Coop was riding versus what, how it kind of goes together, I guess, a little bit. But anyway, enough about kind of the history of it. Let's talk about the track itself, how BAC built it, what it feels like, and so on and so forth. I'm riding a 250, which, as many of you people know, with my skill set in MX Simulator, is a rare occurrence. I am not a 250F player. I have not raced a 250F competitively in this game since 2013. Probably the last time I even got on a 250 like for any really good reason. 450s ever since 2014. Jumped back down to the 250 class in 2017 to race competitively, but I did so on a 252 stroke because the rules allowed it that year. I think they're racing EMF or something. Anyway, yeah, so I jumped on a 250F today because this track is tight. It is really compacted together. A lot of the corners kind of come together really tightly as well. And honestly, I feel like a 450 in general would be a little bit too much for some of these jumps. Like the 250F kind of just like puts you in the perfect range or ratio to be able to do these jumps and not feel like you're absolutely flying over stuff. So 250F or smaller is what I'd recommend if you're going to play this track. Like honestly, I'd even go smaller than this. Like if you're a fan of 125s, definitely try out some 125s on this track. I think they'll play really well in this track. Like this section right here is so tight. Like I don't get out of first gear. I shift to second right there and back down to first and then stay first through here because this is a really tight corner as well. You can't even stay in the ruts because they're so tight. A really tight U-turn right here. And what's crazy is that if you watch the Justin Cooper GoPro video, it's even probably tighter than BAC made it. And he kind of alluded to that on his post as well, where he said, he kind of overscaled it just a little bit so that it maybe flowed a little bit better, but probably could have built it smaller scale. And, it totally makes sense because the plot of land that this track is built on is not, there's not like a massive amount of land available in California, in this specific area of California that this track is. I'm not going to try to doss this guy, but anyway, it's it's a tight little plot of land that the track's built on. But I feel like the area is used like pretty damn well for it. Like it definitely utilizes the hills, goes up and down. Like when I saw the GoPro of it, which I watched before I actually played the track, I was like, man, there's a lot of elevation here. Like I kind of hope that BAC really was able to make that look this way, and I think he totally did. Like the elevation change on this track is wild. It goes all over the place, and you never really feel like you're on too much flat ground. Maybe here is the only spot really. Go in and out of these little corners and then back, and then after that it's down and up and through little valleys and kind of all around. And what I like about it too is that again, the GoPro shows the track like really gnarly deep rutted, and just after like a rainy time in California, I'm guessing. And BAC, I think, kind of took a little inspiration from that with the way that he kind of like laid out some elements of the track. Like you can see there's a lot of like choppy sections coming down into the corners. Low-lying areas look like they have little like holes in them, holes in the ruts as well. So like as you come over here, for example, there's legitimately actually water right there. So you go through a little bit of water. Like I don't know. I think he just took a decent amount of time, took a little extra care with making sure it kind of all looked aesthetically correct based on that. And what's crazy is that he released this track as a unfinished version. Like he quite literally said that he built the track but never really fully finished it, but he's going to release it anyway, might work on it a little bit again. So that's kind of cool that like he got this damn good, or like close to, you know, as accurate as it could be, and he still classifies it as an unfinished track. Just shows the level of detail that he puts into tracks and how much he cares that it actually turns out well. So either way, just wanted to show a little bit of love to his track, because it's fun when a track like this shows up. It reminds me a lot of the Julian Lieber track that we showcased a little bit in MX Bikes recently. And it's been built in Sim before, but you just don't get a lot of these like cool private tracks necessarily rebuilt in Sim that much, because or in bikes either, because quite literally most people that have private tracks keep them private. You know, they don't go and advertise, hey, look at this, we got GoPros for days and come check out this facility and stuff like that. It's like, no, this is my track and I'm the only one that's gonna ride it, and you guys can all shove off and stuff like that. So kind of cool that we get to play this, because probably this is the only time that I'll ever actually feel what this track feels like. I don't think I'll ever ride it in real life as close as it is to where I live. It's just honestly not going to feel what this track might feel like, which it's fine by me. You know, people have private property for a reason, and I hope to one day as well. Like, it would be awesome to have a track at my house that's like this and uses hills and isn't too jumpy, like has jumps but isn't all jumps. Like a lot of the Florida private tracks are and stuff like that. Like I feel like this really does use some elevation. Reminds me a lot of these two kind of, they're not private, they're actually like legal tracks called Nuevo and Coronadilla that a lot of the riders out here in California use during the off season to test at and stuff like that. Reminds me a little bit of that, but still, yeah, I guess kind of, yeah, just a nice little natural feel to the track. So BAC, I think, knocked it out of the park with this track. There's a lot of people that are on the thread page of this track saying like, this is the most fun track ever. Sick aesthetics. I love with this track as well that, you know, the grass textures are there, and I'm playing it at max resolution and there's no frame droppage or anything like that, which sometimes the sim tracks, if you have a lot of these grass textures on them, they'll drop frames. So that's kind of cool too. I think that, you know, he made it work, that the lowered frame rates a little bit wasn't too much of a problem. And yeah, overall, very quality, good job on a track here by Mr. BAC. So, like I said, you should definitely check this one out. Download it in the description below if you want to give it a go for yourself. Let me know what you guys think of kind of a private facility like this as well, and how it kind of fits into the mold of a fun track, because you're never really going to like host a race on this track. You might get on with your buddies and just do some sessions, probably dig some nicer road into this and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's very much what it is, a private track that you and maybe one or two other people are ever going to play together, and that's about that. But do you like stuff like this? Would you like to see more of it? I know that since it's off season and the sim boys are hard at work just busting out some cool tracks. Like I've seen Caleb Hall just absolutely grinding out some soupy tracks. So I'll probably check out this off season as well. So that's been pretty cool. But yeah, big shout out to BAC for a really cool track. fun little look into a private facility here in California. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. As always, I appreciate you stopping by and watching regardless, and hope to see you guys in our next one. So long for now.